Hello. Well, I grew up in St. Paul, Minnesota. And we have 6 kids in our family and a little tiny house. And my mom, it was rough. She had arthritis and pretty hard. She had a lot of pain and some suffering and big nodes on her, and she worked a lot. And, when I was 13, I found that really annoying. I mean, it was like I didn't have time to put up with all her, oohs and ahs and all that kind of thing. And our house was set up such that it was a 2-story. And the bedrooms were upstairs, and then downstairs was the wash machine and the freestanding toilet in the middle of the room, and the shower, and the freezer. And my mom, she had a problem because she couldn't go downstairs. So she would be at the kitchen table, and she would say the words that would just chill me to the bone, and she would say, Kaye, and that was it. I was done. Because I knew what was coming next was, could you run downstairs and get a pound of hamburger? Or could you run downstairs and bring back the laundry? Could you run downstairs and throw the wash into the dryer? And it was always followed by something to go downstairs, and she always made it sound like it was like a PE activity. If you just run, just throw that in, it's so much fun. So, and I had better plans. I had things to do. I had, I want to brush my hair or something. So I would avoid that corner of the kitchen with the door that went downstairs, because it involved an errand all the time. So I went down, she asked me, say, Kaye. So, yeah, Mom, what? Could you run downstairs and get some hamburger? So I ran down the stairs, and I went to the freezer door, and the freezer was this mammoth white igloo in the basement. And it took a lot of work to get the door open, and you would open it, and it would have all these huge animal parts all wrapped in white butcher paper. And it was, frost lined. It was just massive. And we had a whole oleo shelf. I think that's Midwest butter right in there. And so anyways, I went to reach for the hamburger, and I found a Tupperware container. Now, I thought I pretty much knew what was in that freezer, so this was a huge find for me. And I pulled it down, and as I took it down and popped it open, it was these bars that my mom used to make. And somehow she found time to make these without telling anyone. And they were her Christmas bars. And they were like a 4-day event, first layer, second layer, third layer, nuts, caramel, the whole thing. So it was a huge discovery. And so I had like 1 or 2, and then I popped it closed and put it back up there, and I got that hamburger, shut the door, back up the stairs, and that became my routine. And whenever she would say, Kaye, I would jump. I'd like, I'm on it, Mom. What do you want now? I'd be down there in that freezer and with my little bar hand. So I was pretty happy with that whole setup, and this was like the fall. I guess it was like 13 or whatever. And there came a day when I went down there to get something, and I realized it was empty. Now, I had been having a few along the way, I just hadn't kept track, and I was like okay with it because I didn't think she really kept track. But I thought she might notice that it was empty. But I had no solution whatsoever, none. So I just went on like, it's done, and I'm just gonna leave that thing up there. Maybe she'll forget about it, because, I didn't know it was there, she didn't know, who knows, maybe she'd forget. But they were big card players. My parents, they belonged to bridge. They always had this bridge group they played with. And the day before, it dawned on me, yeah, it's okay, the bar thing, maybe that was the bridge, little dessert thing, they're gonna be looking for it. So I was sweating that one. So I stayed late to school, then I went to some basketball game. I was just gonna ride that out. I was just gonna be missing in action. And I came home, and everybody was in the living room playing cards and all that thing. Nothing. Next day, nothing. And I thought, wow, I'm okay. This is not a big deal. Maybe she forgot. It's nothing. And then I actually forgot. And a couple weeks went by, and it was Christmas Eve, and the relatives are over, sitting at the table. All of a sudden, my mom looks across the table, and she goes, "Say, Kaye." And the bell went off. And she said, "Would you run downstairs? There's some bars. They're in the freezer. I got them hidden in the back. Right back. You got to dig around a little bit. You won't find them. They're back there." She just smiled like, yeah, maybe something special just for you. Go downstairs. I got the container, which now just had, plastic, had wax paper in it. That was it. And I brought it upstairs, and I was like, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna say? So I put it on the counter, and as I walk away, my brother starts crying. And he says, "I'm so sorry I ate the bars." Praise the Lord, I was saved. That's my story.